I'm Vivian Azer, Cowen's Beverages, Tobacco, and Cannabis Analyst. Ahead of our annual conference, November 29th through December 1st, we're going to be sitting down with the CEOs of some of the major U.S. MSOs to get an update on the U.S. cannabis landscape. We hope you enjoy the content. So it's an exciting time. You just closed the Harvest transaction. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you talk about some of the key attributes that informed that decision?
For us, it was really a couple of things. One, the learnings from the team, which are going to come over to Now Trulieve and our institutional knowledge base there. Being able to take some wonderful, wonderful brands that they've developed that have, that West Coast, gravitas, if you will, and bringing those into our stores across the country. And then third, again, having a position in states that have near-term catalysts when we're looking at potential recreational, particularly coming online in some of those key markets, and then of course a broader positioning for broader change that we think is coming at some point down the road.
You took over Acreage in a time of a lot of transition. Can you talk about some of the work that you guys have done to really right-size the portfolio?
It's been a significant journey. It's a significant transformation. We've really been just focusing on our core assets, and in order to do that, we've had to make some tough decisions in terms of divesting states that we didn't feel like we had a long-term potential, and instead really focus on states, core states, very attractive states like New Jersey, New York, Ohio, that have significant growth potential, but at the same time we have the right to win. And everything we're doing is just really focusing our resources, our capabilities to drive profitable growth.
So as I think back around of the growth story of Ayr Wellness, M&A has been a critical piece of that story. As you reflect back on it, are there any standout transactions that have really driven the growth in the company?
I would say 2 transactions, and I think the first one has to be our initial 5 private companies that we bought simultaneously. So we bought 4 companies in Nevada and 1 company in Massachusetts. That was our initial portfolio, especially Nevada, which is where we are today. It's such a well-established market, and if you can succeed in Nevada, you can succeed anywhere. It's competitive, and our people here do great.
I think what I'm most proud of is that the team has been able to work with these sort of disparate acquisitions and the roles that they've played in the various states that we're in, and sort of bring them together into what's a very highly functioning company right now with strengths that we've gained from each of those acquisitions over time.
Yeah, I think there are probably 2 that come to mind. The first is Grassroots, which is a great acquisition for us because it's very complementary to our business, but gave us access to a couple great markets like Illinois and Pennsylvania. And we've incorporated a lot of the management team into our team. So not only do we get access to great geographic areas, but we got great talent as part of the acquisition. And as you know, that's always a benefit, right? And I think the second one for me would be Select. Because it is really giving us the ability to create national branding on a large scale.
Yeah, we're in 6 states, but 3 of them are extraordinary states for us. We have 18 dispensary licenses in Pennsylvania, which was over 3 acquisitions. So we did that for $80 million. People are paying $80 million for like 3 licenses now. And then we vertically integrated during COVID and buying a grower processor from a distressed seller at a great price. And I think I have to do a call out to Virginia. We picked up the best license in cannabis, in my view, for $33 million. And it's exclusive right to serve Northern Virginia. So we're super excited.
So what are your key priorities going forward?
You'll see us making strategic investments in existing markets. You'll also see us continue to build out regions, continue to look for partnership opportunities in regions. We're absolutely going to continue to invest in the state of Florida. We also have new markets that, of course, are exciting for us. The state of Georgia. We're very interested to see what the regulations end up specifying, but we'll be turning that market on along with West Virginia, which we'll be turning on here very shortly as well.
Relative to some of your other large MSO peers, you guys are uniquely concentrated in California. Can you speak to some of the specific opportunities and challenges that geographic focus allows for you guys?
Well, I think everyone knows that California has thousands of brands and it's a highly competitive marketplace, which I think scares some folks out of California. For us, we feel like it's the battleground. If you can win in California, you'll have a successful business outside of California and throughout the rest of the U.S.
So as you think about growth over the medium term, what do you think the balance between organic and inorganic looks like?
Very heavy on organic. We're investing a lot of the capital into our business to build facilities, to build assets that will generate returns.
So a lot of organic growth. I think most of our organic growth in 2021 came organically, but we know there's going to be consolidation in the marketplace, and we're going to continue to consolidate where it makes sense. It's been broadly bolt-on acquisitions on 21 and going into 22, but I think over the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to start seeing, a higher level of inorganic growth, probably, not only for Curaleaf, but the rest of the MSOs.
So we look at both, and I think you need to look at both in order to not only create the footprint that we've been able to create, but also to gain the depth and the sort of meaningful material market positions that we've not only been able to gain in some of the markets, but that we strive to create in the remainders. And so for us, we are constantly doing an evaluation of whether or not the right move and the right allocation of capital for the benefit of the company and shareholders is doing CapEx projects with organic growth and really trying to drive it there, or some acquisitions that would allow us to achieve the same goals in a much more expedited time frame with maybe a nominal or a reasonable amount of additional capital.
Well, we only want to be in, let's call it 12 plus or minus. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 15 states. Because the thing that is the hardest in this business, and you know this, is talent. Talent is incredibly important. You got to have great people to be able to realize your vision. And so we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Our goal as a company is to be the largest producer of high quality flower at scale. And that's because we know in the medium term, this is going to be a branded CPG business. And branded CPG businesses are all about the quality of what is inside the box. You got to have great packaging, you got to have great marketing, you got to have a great connection with your customer and your consumer. But if what's inside the box isn't excellent, you're dead in the water. So everything starts with the plant for us, which means the talent in our cultivation is incredibly important, and the talent in our boots on the ground is incredibly important, which means we can't spread ourselves too thin.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of organic growth opportunities in those states like New Jersey, New York. We just completed the transaction for Ohio, which we're a leading player in that state. And I think there's also going to be an opportunity to accelerate growth through inorganic opportunities. And when we look at that, we want to be very strategic how we approach it.
And lastly, a very important topic for cannabis is social equity. So I'd love to understand from your perspective, Joe, what you guys are doing at Curaleaf to drive progress on social equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Yeah, we're very, very proud of what we're doing, not only internally but externally in regard to social equity and all of our CSR initiatives. 3 initiatives specifically that we're very proud of. One is we have an executive roundtable where we're working with young entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry who want to get into the industry, and we're mentoring them and fostering relationships to help them build their businesses within cannabis. The second is a program we call 420 by 25. We've given ourselves a goal of going out and creating 420 partnerships, joint ventures with social equity applicants and minority and women-owned businesses. And then the third one is something we call the Second Chance program, where we're working with people who have been precluded from participating in cannabis because they have minor criminal records or misdemeanors in cannabis, which is the irony. Obviously, we're working with local governments to help them change the regulations, help people get carded to be able to work in cannabis and bring those people into our business. We've set a goal of trying to get at least 10% of our population coming from this program over the next couple of years.
What I know is that diverse teams bring great ideas, great debate, and ultimately really great results. So I'm excited about the fact that we can make a statement in the industry, actually show people that it can be done in an effective way and have great results, and we're going to set ourselves out to go do just that.
Yeah, I think first it starts with the talent you have internally. I think we've made a number of hires with that in mind, especially in our leadership team.
We've always been community focused, right, from the very beginning. And honestly, it was part of the way that you earned your way into the industry in a state like Illinois that needed to be part of the DNA of your company and your organization. We can help drive some of these initiatives, not only as Cresco Labs and as an operator, but in our relationships with regulators and legislators and how to think about the development of the industry going forward. We just think it's a critical part of this industry becoming what this industry has the potential to be.
Sure. This topic has been part of who Green Thumb is since we've started. We believe in being positive contributors in the community, and given the cannabis industry is built on something that's illegal, trying to help those that have been really victims of the war on drugs. So we've done a lot of different things, but most recently launched a brand called Good Green, which is a value-based flower product where we're taking some of the proceeds and investing them in charities, 501c3s, that are literally working on fighting some of the problems created by the war on drugs.
The cannabis industry has a wonderful opportunity and responsibility to weave corporate social responsibility into everything that we do. Because of the history, the rich traditional history of cannabis, because of some of, candidly, the disproportional impact of the war on drugs on communities, we have a responsibility to do corporate social responsibility right in cannabis, and frankly, make cannabis the model for the rest of corporate America and how to really do it. We think it's important to do that on a local level because your communities are so important, and to draw from your communities for your mentorship and accelerator programs, which we have, for your education programs, which we have, to always be wanting to improve the diversity and inclusion in your workforce. And part of that comes from drawing your workforce from your communities as well. But we think that it's important to have those programs, but it's also important culturally, every day, from the top down, to focus on diversity, inclusion in everything that we do.
One of the things that was really important to the organization and to our chief visionary, Jay-Z, was to make sure that we could bring others along this journey. I think we all know how lucrative this business is going to be long term. All communities should be a part of this great journey that we're part of. And to do that, we set aside $10 million in an equity fund. And not only do we have the $10 million fund set aside, but a standing commitment. So 2% of our profits every year will go towards these efforts. And we think that's a difference maker and a big part of what we do.